Welcome to the X Corner. I'm back to add some more mutation to the superhero crew. I'll be covering the X comics for the weeks of August 1st and 8th, 2018. These weeks we had 8 comics. Astonishing X-Men 14, Hunt for Wolverine Weapon Loss number 4, X-Men Gold number 33, X-Men Gold Annual number 2, Domino number 5, Hunt for Wolverine Adamantium Agenda number 4, Old Man Logan 45, and finally X-Men Blue number 33. It's going to be a long one, people. Buckle up. And spoilers, of course. We'll start with Astonishing X-Men 14. The writer is Matthew Rosenberg, and the penciler is Greg Land. As we left off, a not undead Banshee swoops in to save Beast and Havoc from the Reavers. One of the Reavers gets the jump on Beast, but Warpath shows up and saves him. Warpath has been sent by Kitty to keep an eye on Havoc. Havoc and Warpath go to recruit their muscle for the team, and Beast starts to go through one of the dead Reavers' files. Havoc goes to a super drunk and depressed Colossus, who says he'll join the team since they aren't X-Men and Kitty isn't involved. Beast lets Havoc know that the Reavers had a kill list, and they go to see the next person on the list. They find Dazzler performing in front of a small crowd, and when they talk to her, she's eager to join up. But they aren't there for her. They are there for Forge, who is acting as her tour tech. He declines the offer, and they leave just in time for another attack. These guys are heavily armed and armored, and are beating the team before Dazzler shows up to win the day. They let her join, and find out they just beat up a bunch of Federal agents. A fun book so far, collecting the sad and depressed X-Men. Colossus sitting in his apartment covered in filth strikes more true to being dumped at the altar than the front he was showing in X-Men Gold. Dazzler too showed the sad side of past fame. This comic though was funny, and didn't dwell too much on the sad sacks. Rather that you know that they're going to get together and win the day somehow. Not Undead Banshee was weird, as he looked gaunt and never spoke, but Beast assured us that he was fine, and definitely not undead. Overall, great book for me, so 8.5 out of 10. Then there is Hunt for Wolverine Weapon Loss number 4. The writer is Charles Soule, and the penciler is Matteo Befagni. Misty, Frank, and Daredevil were in the process of being blown up last issue. As heroes do, they survived, and went after the guards' bosses. They infiltrate a company that is trying to delete all its files, but say forget some. It's revealed that Wolverine is alive and working as a hired killer for this group. This is the first of the Hunt for Wolverine miniseries to actually find Wolverine. It leads directly into the Hunt for Wolverine Dead End series, as all the Hunt teams get together to see what's up with their not-dead friend. I like the denouement of this issue, as Daredevil tries to figure out how to tell Kitty what they found, Misty and Frank go their separate ways, and Cypher asks for help for his addiction. It was a total noir ending, with no one getting out unscathed. A well-done series, and even though it doesn't really answer the central mystery, it did get us to a place where we could say the hunt was successful. 8 out of 10. Then we have X-Men Gold 33. The writer's Mark Guggenheim and the penciler is Michel Bendini. The beginning of a new arc finds Rachel unsure of her place on the team after trying to kill everyone. Jean assures everyone that Mesmero's influence is gone, but still, she did just try to kill everyone. Rachel then breaks up with Kurt to add a little more heartbreak. Meanwhile, Aurora finds out the woman who raised her in her small village in Africa is dead, and there is word of a death cult there now. She goes to pay her respects and find out what's going on. She finds the leader of the cult named Uvu, who claims to be a god. She summons Stormcaster and is about to fight, but Uvu says there's no need. He then brings her long-dead parents out to greet her. Storm has been a bit neglected in the X-Men lately, so it's nice to see her get a spotlight. I like the idea that Stormcaster came to her in her time of need because her adopted mother prayed for it too. I think this Storm story could have been a miniseries, but we'll see if the rest of the X-Men get dragged in. So far so good though, so a solid 7 out of 10. Next we have X-Men Gold Annual number 2. The writer is Shannon McGuire and the penciler is Marco Falella. This annual is a flashback tale of Kitty going to camp as a 14-year-old. She tries to be normal, but she is an X-Men, so she sneaks out at night to use her powers. She discovers some of the kids are stealing stuff from their cabins, so she tries to scare them by pretending to be a ghost, and gets all the stuff back. This backfires as the kids realize it was a mutant, and a sort of mutant hysteria starts up at the camp. Kitty discovers another mutant there, and tries to befriend him, but he freaks out and runs away for some reason. Eventually, camp ends and Kitty pledges to make the world better. I really don't see the point of this story at all. It retreads old themes, brings nothing new to the whole mutant as an outsider idea. It's just a bunch of kids being asses, then making up, sort of. Maybe I'm missing something, but it is really cliché. I can't even tell who the mutants are supposed to be an allegory for in this story. Homophobia? Racism? No idea. Not well written, no point, and not even artistically interesting. 4 out of 10. Then there's Domino number 5, written by Gail Simone and arts by Michael Shelfer. Domino and Shang-Chi and Outlaw and Diamondback are fighting enemies across the world from each other, but the fights are affecting each other. As Desmond is winning, Domino is losing. Eventually Desmond and Topaz beat down Outlaw and Diamondback is bleeding out. Outlaw loses it and pistol whips Desmond as he teleports away, and then shoots the evil doctor responsible for all this in the face. Shang-Chi teaches Domino that her power is affected by her mood, and she zens out taking control of the luck. Desmond and Topaz show up in Hong Kong, but his face is half missing from Outlaw's attack. A solid issue even with a different artist. He's not as good as Beldian, with a more cartoony style, but still acceptable. What I learned from this issue is that Outlaw is a total bamf. When she goes crazy as Diamondback lay dying, it was epic. I think the standouts for the series so far has been these two, and I hope Diamondback isn't dead. 8 out of 10. Then we get Hunt for Wolverine Adamantium number 4, written by Tom Taylor, art by R.B. Silva. The Avengers find the DNA of everyone, and no one trusts Tony not to use it. We flash back to his conversation with Logan, and it turns out Tony made the design for the bomb. He said he never intended to use it, and Logan convinces him that it doesn't matter what you intend, because it always gets out. Sinister shows up in the present, and after being beaten down, tries to convince Tony to save the database. Tony does the right thing and destroys it. Later, Tony reveals that he found 2 things in the database before it was destroyed. Turns out Laura isn't just a clone of Logan, but actually has her mother's DNA too. And also, one of the X-Men isn't a mutant, but a sleeper agent. He just couldn't tell who it was. This series was up and down, but it comes down to Tony making the moral choice, which is nice. The revelations at the end are also nice seeds for further stories, which I like. Hopefully the mole one isn't going to happen soon, but rather just a seed. I do hope they address Laura's revelation in her own series, though. Overall not bad, and this issue and the whole series will get a 7.5, I think. It pulled itself up in the end. Then there is Old Man Logan 45, written by Ed Brisson and art by Juan E. Ferreira. Logan is chasing down Bullseye with Vendetta and Shotgun to try and save Bullet's kid. They track him to a factory, and they finally get a hold of Bullseye. He says he'll tell them where the kid is if they let him go. They have no choice but to agree, and Logan sends Glob to get him. Glob finds the kid dead, and Bullseye gloats at Logan and tries to make his escape. Vendetta shoots him though as he jumps out the window, just as the cops show up to arrest him. As a story about trying to do the right things, but being beaten down by reality goes, this one was fine. But the art is where this book shined. There were panels that just were great. One of my favorites is just Logan in the back of a car with his face cut up. I'll have to keep an eye out for more from Ferreira in the future. For a story, this book would have been a 6, but the art drags it way up to a 7.5, if not higher. At least we won't be seeing Bullseye again, I hope. Lastly, we have X-Men Blue 33, written by Cullen Bunn, art by Marcus Toe. We start to find out what happened to Magneto to set him off in the last few issues, as he was thrust into the future when escaping the Mothervine mutants. He finds a world where many have died at his hands. He's hunted by the mutants he was forced to kill to survive, and then is attacked by a group of Reavers, whom he deals with easily. The mutant survivors start to come out and treat him like a returning messiah. He finds out there was something called the Reaver virus that infected most of the world, and he and his Brotherhood did what had to be done by excising the virus. The survivors say he did what had to be done, but he isn't so sure. And then the future X-Men Blue team shows up, minus Bloodstorm and Iceman, to fight him. I gave Cullen Bunn a lot of crap, and rightly so where Venom is concerned, but he's definitely laying down some deep time travel roots here. I'm not sure if this does tie into Extinction now, but it is interesting. Exploring Magneto as someone willing to do what has to be done, and if he can stand that burden, is interesting. I'm finally getting excited to see where an X-Men Blue arc is going. Don't burn me again, Bunn. 8 out of 10. Ooh, that was a long one. Mostly good. Only X-Men Gold Annual was a stinker. It was bad. But the rest were really good to great, so I can't complain much. Next time I go away, though, they better put out less X-books. This one nearly killed me. More to come next week. That wheel keeps on turning.